Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome to Around the Kitchen Table, a space for honest conversations, stories from the heart, and gentle reminders that we're all walking each other home. I'm Laura Island, mother, creative, soul-led CEO of Sacred Sister CIC, and the woman behind Wise Sacred Woman. I'm a witch with ADHD, and this podcast is where we gather to share the real, raw and radiant parts of life. Each week, we'll explore what it means to live in rhythm with ourselves, with nature and with one another. We'll talk about womanhood, sisterhood, creativity, leadership, spirituality, and the messy magic of being a human. So pour yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's meet here around the kitchen table, where stories are medicine and every voice belongs. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Around the Kitchen Table. I'm Laura, the founder of Sacred Sister. I'm a celebrant, a community creator, and most recently I'm the co-creator of Cavendish Bazaar here in Weston-super-Mare, which is a coffee, kitchen and community space built from the deepest part of my heart. It's Thursday afternoon. It's an unusual time for me to jump on, but it's been busy, and I know that tomorrow is going to be even busier, and I'm not going to get a chance to kind of jump on. And so I came home and thought, right, I'll just record my podcast today instead. It's been an absolutely manic week, and this week's conversation feels incredibly important. Because over the last few days, I've found myself really sitting with a sentence that I heard on Mel Robbins' podcast. Everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager. Everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager. And it really hit me because isn't it true? It's like we all talk about this longing for connection, and we all say that we want community and we crave deeper friendships and support and belonging, and to have people who really know us. And yet we're exhausted, overwhelmed, burnt out, protective. We're a bit awkward, distrustful, hyper independent. So we want the village, but often don't know how to build one anymore. And honestly, like I include myself in that, right? Like we've moved to Weston-super-Mare 6 months ago. Like you'll have heard me say before, I don't really have friends and I don't really have friendship groups. You're either in my circle or you're not yet in my circle. I don't have this hierarchy of best friends or friendships or, I can't live that way because actually it takes a lot of energy. Like I've got a relationship with my husband and I've got my kids, and that takes a lot. And then I've got you guys and Sacred Sister, and I would not be without it. Like I heard myself saying, maybe 2 weeks ago now, when I met with our team for the gathering this summer in a field, I started Sacred Sister 6 years ago, and there has never once been a moment where I've thought, I can't do this. I watch other people take fallow years and take years off of doing their events, and I watch that stuff happen, and it's like it just never occurs to me. And believe me, every year I kind of have a what my dad would call a squeaky bum moment. Sorry, just as I was about to say that, I was like, can I say that? I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, it's me, and you all know me by now. So, I have those moments where I'm like, is this going to work? Is anybody going to come? What's going to happen? And, it's hard. So I include myself in that. Like, we want the village, but we don't necessarily know how to build one, and we don't necessarily know how to show up. Because being a villager requires things that we've slowly stopped practicing. It requires us to be present. It requires patience and conversations and discomfort and repair when things go wrong and contribution and returning. It requires us to leave the safety of isolation and risk being seen. And I really feel that. Like, I really feel that. I carry so many old wounds from childhood because I my birthday is just after the summer holidays, like literally just after the schools break up for summer. So it's the end of July. And so I remember having all these parties and, birthday parties my mum would organise and, people would say they're showing up and then they would forget it was the school holidays and then, we'd sit there and we'd organise these big things and only a handful of people would show up. And I can remember that feeling even as a little one of like feeling left out, feeling like nobody cared, feeling like nobody was interested. And I've carried that through into my adult life. And, I can remember many times and every time that I create something thinking, oh my God, what if no one comes? So it really requires us to be brave. And this week, opening the doors to the Cavendish Bazaar, like I've witnessed all of this so deeply in real time because what people don't realize is that community isn't built through beautiful branding and inspirational quotes and, all of the Instagram beautiful pictures. It's built through tiny human moments. Someone remembering your name, a stranger smiling at another stranger, someone sitting down alone and leaving having spoken to three people. Now, let me tell you, that for me was mind blowing this week. We've created the Cavendish without any seats for two. So there are lots of benches, lots of long tables. And I turned around and it just made my heart sing when I witnessed five women who I know had never met each other, who all came in separately, all sat down at this table. And by the time they left, they were all chatting, and two of them had arranged to meet up the following day. And it kind of made me cry because that's kind of why we're doing this, It's a tired mum having 5 minutes of conversation. It's someone helping to stack chairs. Someone saying, how are you really? It's messy and it's slow and it's human. And also it's freaking awkward at times because we've forgotten how to do it. We've become so digitally connected that many of us are relationally undernourished. We scroll connection, we consume conversations, we watch humans instead of participating with them. We all do it. Every single one of us doom scrolls somewhere along the line. And I think loneliness has become one of the quiet epidemics of our time. And that's why Secret Sister exists, because in lockdown, I was like, there will be loads of women at home right now really feeling this. We were all feeling it. But women who have suddenly got their kids at home, they were home with their husbands all day, like this isolation and this loneliness. And I wanted every woman to know that within Sacred Sister, someone will have your back. Someone will be there. Someone will connect with you. Because loneliness isn't because people don't care. But it's because modern life has pulled us away from the rhythms that once naturally created community. I used to drop my kids off at school and I'd be in such a rush. Even the school playground, there wasn't really a community for me. There was drop and run, leg it, got to get on to the next thing. So modern life has pulled us away from that space where we get to create community. Villages weren't built through convenience, they were built because people needed each other. And now many of us are trying to survive life entirely alone. And then something else happened this week that I'm going to share with you because it feels so deeply important and it was so painful at the same time. And it really, really kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I want to speak about it carefully because this is really nuanced. And I really need to say that I'm not anti-AI. I know many of you that listen to this may be anti-AI, but I'm not anti-AI. But it's called artificial intelligence for a reason. It's artificial. It gives us what we want because we're telling it and feeding it all the time. So really clearly, I'm literally speaking about this while using technology every single day, right? I use AI. I use it to, help me to stay on track. I think it's incredible. I think it can support creativity and learning and organization and reflection. But this week, someone I've supported for months through a deeply difficult and painful period of her life took the messages from our healing conversations and put them into ChatGPT and asked it essentially if what I was sharing with her, whether my support was harmful. And she then sent me the transcript. And honestly, it just shocked me. I couldn't even understand why she was doing that, other than the fact that she needed to try and prove a point somehow. But it shocked me not because I think people shouldn't seek perspective and not because I think that therapists or facilitators should never be questioned. I'm the first person to be really open to you questioning me if there's something going on for you. Of course, like people should question these things. But I was shocked because it revealed something much deeper about the times that we're really living in. What shocked me was watching months of relational nuance get flattened into some text analysis. It just surprised me so much. You know, a healing relationship is not one message or one paragraph or one moment removed from context. Healing work is the tone, the history, the trust, the rupture, the repair, timing, energy, safety, your nervous system, the pauses, the listening, the relationship itself. And AI cannot hold the fullness of that. It can't analyze words in the way that we do. But it can analyze the words that we say and it can mirror patterns and it can generate psychologically sounding responses. But it doesn't know the people that are involved. It doesn't know the hundreds of hours of context. It doesn't know what happened before or after. It doesn't know the body language, the care, the pacing, the humanity. And this is where I think we need to be careful as a society because the danger isn't AI itself. The danger is when we begin outsourcing our discernment instead of deepening relationship. When we stop talking to people and start asking machines to validate our fears and our wounds, our projections or decisions. Because here's the truth, if someone is frightened, hurt, defensive, dysregulated, angry, traumatized, or looking for certainty, AI can very easily become an echo chamber. Not intentionally, but because prompts shape outcomes. And this is wildly different from sitting in relationship with another human being. I think this is kind of one of the biggest conversations of our time because technology is advancing rapidly, while many humans are becoming more disconnected from themselves, from each other, and real community. And maybe that's why spaces like the Cavendish matter so much to me because it's not just a coffee shop, it's an invitation to slow down, to talk again, to know the people that are serving your coffee, to sit beside someone, to become familiar, to practice being human again. Because community isn't something we consume, it's something we participate in. And participation requires vulnerability. It requires us to risk weird awkwardness, to leave the house, to say hello first, to ask someone to meet for coffee, to return after misunderstandings, and to stop expecting perfection from humans. Because we're not. Honestly, I think many of us have lost the tolerance for the discomfort of real relationships. Humans are messy. Community is messy. Healing is messy. But that messiness is also where the magic lives. Not in perfectly curated lives, not in algorithmic certainty, not even in AI generated emotional validation, but in real human connection, in eye contact, in shared laughter, in tears, in conflict, in repair and presence. The village was never built through convenience. It was built through people deciding to keep showing up for each other. It's exhausting and it's hard work and it's really hard not to just fall back into an old pattern of I'm no good at this, I shouldn't do this, I'm not worthy, I'm all of those things. It's not the first time it's happened. I mean, it's the first time AI has been used, but it's not the first time that I've triggered somebody into looking at something that they don't want to do, and therefore I just become the scapegoat. Like I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. But the invitation today is not just to want to create a village, but to become a villager, to practice conversation again, to check on someone inside the Cavendish right now. Because we're a little bit quieter, because we've just opened and we've got time, conversations are happening. We ask people their names, we connect in with them. If they're locals, they get given our locals discount card because, your loyalty isn't going to be rewarded just because you've bought 10 coffees. Your loyalty is going to be rewarded every single time you come in because that's important to me. We check on people when they're drinking their coffee to see how it is and to see, we check in with people that are on their own. Are they good? Do they need a chat? Like, it's so important. And we've received some amazing feedback already, including someone who sent us an email today after they'd been in with their dog. And, their words just really like you were lovely and just hit me that, it was a real thank you for being that kind of blessing in their day where they'd got to kind of talk to really nice people. And that's what makes my heart sing. Someone's gone out of their way to take the time to email for that reason. And so, the invitation is there to check on someone, to know your neighbours, to build community slowly, to sit in spaces where you're known and where you're not known, to let yourself be supported and to contribute. Because loneliness will not be healed by more content consumption or from competition with each other. It will be healed through relationship. Messy, awkward, beautiful human relationship. And we get to live that. I get to live that in so many ways. But I really get to live it with you this summer when, we get to come together as a village, you know, while I've been speaking about villages metaphorically throughout this episode, this summer we're quite literally creating one in a field in the view of the tour in Avalon. Women will gather for 5 days and 4 nights. Less if you can't make it for the whole time, but every year you all say to me, can we stay for longer? So I've made it accessible for you to come for 5 days and 4 nights for our summer gathering, which I'm calling the homecoming. And I'm calling it the homecoming because we're going back to the land that I birthed Sacred Sister on 6 years ago. And we're going back to the land that just means so much to me. And so it's a real homecoming for the festival, for the way that we show up, for what we're doing for each other. It's a real homecoming for each individual woman because you will come home to yourself. The only reason we ever feel truly lonely is because we abandon ourselves in the chaos too. So you will come home to yourself in that time. And no, it's not a festival in the way that the world has taught us festivals should be. There are no headliners, no hierarchy, no performance of spirituality. We're just women and land and music and firelight and conversation and shared meals and morning coffees and late night tears and laughter, hugs, stories, silencing, healing, belonging. A remember of what it feels like to really be human together again. And honestly, I think that's what so many of us are craving. Not more noise, not more content, not another thing to consume, but spaces where we can soften, where we can exhale, where we can remember that we were never meant to do life entirely alone. And the beautiful thing about the gathering is you don't arrive as a consumer, you arrive as part of the village. Everyone brings something, a song, a smile, a story, a hand to help, a listening ear, a presence. And somehow through all those tiny threads, something really sacred gets woven. So if you've been listening to this episode and thinking, yep, this is what I miss. Yes, this is what I long for. Yes, I want deeper connection. Then maybe this is your invitation to stop, waiting for the village to magically appear and to actually start stepping into helping create one. You can find out all about the gathering. I'll pop it in the show notes below for you. So short and sweet. I mean, I don't know if it was short and sweet. I have no idea. I didn't look at the clock when I turned it on, but I'm going to bring this to a close right now because I am literally falling asleep here thinking I could just squeeze 20 minutes in while this is uploading for a nap. That's how my days are rolling. How can I be super, super kind to myself whilst everything is so busy? So until you sit with me around the kitchen table again, I'll speak to you soon. And if this conversation resonated, maybe share it with someone who's also craving deeper connection right now. And maybe this week, instead of just wishing for the village, ask yourself, how can I become part of building one? Next time, beautiful souls, take care of yourself and take care of each other. And I'll see you soon. You're out.